CrunchTime helps restaurants and hospitality operators run more consistent, efficient operations, behind the scenes. And if they can pick things up in one potential back office solution, then it makes their life easier and it allows them to do what they do best. We give you the visibility into the future. Not many businesses have that at the moment.
Yep, agreed.
We're in a complex and chaos industry as it is. The best thing we can do is to make sure that the teams that use tech, are trained and have the ability to use it, but it's just simple for them to use.
But who's going to be in the final of the World Cup?
Well, I have to say England.
You don't have to, but you can.
I have to because I want to.
Okay.
And I think
we're getting some heckles from the audience.
I know, right? Yeah, some boos. But no, look, I think we can do really well. I think we've got a great team. We've got a good manager. Let's see if the other usual suspects might be there. Maybe France.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it might be France in the final. Then we'll see.
But how can you predict when Spain?
I don't know. Maybe if they had crunch time, they could work out what was going to happen.
There you go. Yeah. We help your inventory, but we also help you win games. Yeah. Some have gone from 100 to 1,800 sites, and they've used our system to make sure that they can scale up accordingly. We help those businesses scale up, and we help big businesses stay consistent as well.
Welcome to the next episode of the Tech on Toast podcast. And today, I'm delighted to be joined. Are you ready for this? Shamik Mojaria.
Perfect.
There you go. We've been practicing that for 8 minutes. But we've got we've got it down. How are you, mate?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good too. It's welcome to London, and it's hot.
Believe
I've just done a 45-minute walk, which wasn't good for me. But anyway, how long have you been at CrunchTime? We met you guys on top of a roof in London recently, but you represent CrunchTime now. How long have you been there?
Today marks a year.
A year, congratulations.
Thank you.
I should have brought you a cake, but I didn't. Tell us, for anybody who doesn't know CrunchTime or isn't aware of what you guys do, can you give us a bit of a kind of your best sales pitch for them?
So, CrunchTime helps restaurants and hospitality operators run more consistent, efficient operations, behind the scenes. Things like inventory, food safety, kitchen operations, and all day-to-day execution. And we work with brands across more than 150,000 locations globally. And we're hearing constantly that our operators are more under pressure than ever. Our margins are tighter, demand is completely unpredictable and out the window at the moment. And managers are really stretched. I mean, what's been interesting for us is over the last few years, how CrunchTime has evolved through acquisitions of Zenput, which is now called CrunchTime Ops Execution, and QSR Automations, which is now called CrunchTime Kitchens and CrunchTime Host. And we bring together technologies that operators trust, that are completely integrated and unified. And we help operations execution, kitchen management, and obviously inventory as well. Alongside that, CrunchTime Insights underpins the back office suite by helping operators bring operational and financial data together, all in one place, giving teams better visibility in their day-to-day operations and helping them make quicker, more informed decisions. And ultimately, our job is to help reduce complexity, especially within the back office. We know that kitchens are really high-pressure environments, as well as front of house, making sure that customers leave the door really happy. And we want every store to perform like their best store. And
there's no more pressure than a World Cup.
At the moment,
it depends actually. We'll see, because so far the results have been a bit weird. But when this goes out, hopefully England would have won their first game. I'm saying that if you're English, I mean I'm Welsh, so I don't know if I care. But it brings that. I mean, I think the operators love it because it's a fantastic time it's an opportunity they only get every 4 years. It's it's a great time to fill the businesses, but it's quite relevant for you guys, isn't it? Because this is where you can kind of support, isn't it, around their operations and that complexity you talk about, trying to unpick some of that in a kind of one-off event. I suppose it's unique, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the World Cup is such a major sporting event, right? It brings people out, it gets pubs and bars really, really busy, packed to the rafters. But it's at those points in time where that 15-minute halftime break, it's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And you need clarity. You need good data, actionable data that you can actually use to be able to service the demand that comes through. So whilst it's an amazing event and it's great to bring people together, actually hospitality businesses probably suffer the most at the moment because they can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, because I imagine they kind of just not go blindly, that's not fair, I suppose, but they go into it kind of just hoping it'll be okay, I suppose, or putting more team on. They just put more team on, buy more food, but actually there's a much more strategic way of doing it. I suppose, and using your data is supportive of that.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, all of it really depends on your forecasting capabilities. So if you can forecast the demand that comes through the door, you'll be able to service it not only at a great speed, but at really, really high quality as well. So ultimately, if I went to a bar and I had to wait the whole half time to get my round of drinks, I probably wouldn't be very happy.
Yeah, this is true.
But yeah, having the right team on, but also making sure you've got the right stock levels in. Last thing you want is somebody to come and order a round of shots, for example, and you've run out.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So no one wants a second best choice in their drink.
No, it's true. And also, and while we're talking about, we're talking about tech generally here, tech stack is probably the most interesting conversation. I mean, we have a lot of them, obviously, with a lot of operators. I suppose the word fragmented, broken, spaghetti are all these different words I hear about tech stacks. And I think it's become quite difficult. I think over the past, even though there's a lot of tech around, it's actually added complexity rather than take it away sometimes, because there's more choice, more things to do. For people who are kind of overwhelmed, or they're managing different apps, or they're kind of looking at every part of the business, they've got a different bit of tech for every part of the business. How should they be thinking about their tech stack now compared to maybe even 2 years ago? Where, what's your best advice, I suppose, to people when they're looking at that?
Just simplify things as much as you can. It is a complex world out there from a tech perspective. We know this over the years. There's been many operators that almost piecemeal together their tech and hope that actually they've picked the best things.
And it's not by design, is it? I mean, it's by accident most of the time, isn't it?
It is. And you can't blame operators, right?
No.
Because ultimately they're in this pressure point now where they just want to get the best. And they're not necessarily tech people, right? I never grew up as a tech expert. I'm becoming one now because I work in the industry.
Yeah.
And I can see that. But when I was growing up and I had my restaurant, I wanted just to grab whatever I could to help me get through a day or a shift or a week or a month. Now what we're trying to do is just move away from the disconnected systems and provide that simplification for managers to not be pulled in different directions, not to have to log into too many different systems, not to have to gather data from so many different systems. And if they can pick things up in one potential back office solution, then it makes their life easier and it allows them to do what they do best.
And do you think the clamour is to that? Because I think if you think about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a best-in-class conversation that was going on after the pandemic, that everyone was kind of, buy the best. But actually, do you think it's now got to a point where it's almost flipped on its head a little bit and people are looking at all-in-one and saying, actually, we just need kind of one place to go to find our data, as you said, deliver our operations, deliver our systems, and not be distracted by 15 different logins as it might be?
Yeah, I mean, the logins thing is actually really, really poignant here, right? You don't want a manager to have to do that. But also the manager is hired to do a couple of things, right? Coach their teams to be the best teams that they can be, and especially at high pressure points in service, but provide the best service that they can for their customers. So having a single back office suite allows them to do that. Yeah. And that's what we as operators want managers to be able to do. If a customer walks out the door because they've had the best service, the best experience, their food is there, they haven't had to choose their second best, it's the system behind it that allows the operations to run that and run it smoothly.
Yeah, and I think I'm old now, very old, and I go back to my time in the industry. Actually, the infrastructure that you talk about, that bit that sat underneath what we did as an operations team, was very manual, right, and very processed. And actually, we were at dinner last night. We were discussing this with a group of operational leaders, and they were saying, actually, still though, the number, as you point out, the number one thing is if your product is great and you are great, you will win, but you need that infrastructure underneath you now to be able to compete. I think it is a competitive advantage, right, to have, I suppose, the most streamlined or whatever most integrated piece of tech you can to enable your teams to do that. Is that where you see it going from?
100%, 100%. Gone are the days of piecemealing the best in-class solutions, because sometimes they just don't work and they don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if your
sometimes it's a lot, by the way.
Sometimes is a lot.
Yeah.
And if your systems don't talk to each other, or there isn't one source of the truth, as we would say, then you're having also fragmented conversations in the kitchen, where the chefs are asking to do one thing and the front of house is asking to do another. It just creates chaos. And we're in a complex and chaos industry as it is. The best thing we can do is to make sure that the teams that use tech are trained and have the ability to use it, but it's just simple for them to use.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, and if you talk about a single site, right? So I'm envisaging. I was literally going to this den last night. We popped into the pub. Spain were playing someone really random, Cape Verde.
Yeah,
and I think they drew, right?
They drew.
Which is apparently the biggest mismatch ever. But anyway, we went in there and it was packed. We're in London, so there was lots of Spanish people knocking around in the bar, and it felt a bit like you just described basically. But that, when you start to multiply that, and you start to look at larger estates at what we would call enterprise businesses in the UK. And I think it's weird because CrunchTime come out the States, right? And their enterprise businesses are like 2,000, 3,000 sites, right? Yeah. Our enterprise can be 40 to 100. Yeah, it's very different. So how do you, I suppose the big thing I was going to ask is, how do you kind of take them from that journey of being a single site where you can really have focus and control on the tech and on the individuals in the restaurant, then leading up to 50, 70, 80 sites? How does that play out? Because it must get, I know it gets more challenging, it changes.
I think not only within the store itself, managers, teams need visibility, but above store it's incredibly important. As you're scaling a business up, if you can hone in on your best performing sites, look at the data across your entire estate, make informed decisions, and almost to a certain extent be able to say, okay, well, these guys are performing better than others. How do we bring the other stores up? The only way you'll be able to do that is through data. And if you don't have the data, how can you make those decisions? But also, it's not just having the data, it's having the data at the right time, but providing you actionable insights. I mean, that's where CrunchTime really, really excels. Multi-site, complex businesses, and it's proven. We've scaled up huge brands from, in the US, let's take that as an example. Some have gone from 100 to 1,800 sites. And they've used our system to make sure that they can scale up accordingly.
We had John, your CEO, on a panel with us recently on our rooftop I was referring to before. And he was talking about the growth over in the US. And it was fascinating listening to him talking with Cafe Nero and big brands in the UK, talking about how they'd done that, and part of that listening loop that you guys are constantly iterating based on what you're learning from their operations, which I guess is a crucial part of what you have to do to kind of maintain an enterprise style business.
Yeah, fundamentally our system is robust in its own nature.
Yeah.
Right, 30 years in the game, it's incredibly robust as a system. And where we're starting to really make some nuanced changes, but things that actually move the needle for our operators is, as you said, we're listening to them, we're making iterations, and that's, as you know, currently through AI.
We mentioned AI at the start, and it's something that I'm loving talking about on a daily basis. But it's fascinating, right? It's, I suppose, one of the single biggest moments in tech since the internet, if you think about it.
100%.
So it is relevant to talk about, but it is a bit of a buzzword. You guys talk about practical AI, which is actually a different form. Explain what that difference is to what might be in an operator's head about AI.
I think what's happening at the moment in the industry is AI is a great tool, but it's a bit of a buzzword. And I think there's a lot of hype around AI. And I think what we try and do is help people ignore the hype, but we deliver AI that actually moves the needle. Ultimately, AI is here to make life easier for all of us. But if we talk about a hospitality space, our managers, above store operators, and it helps everyone spot issues much faster, be more proactive in their approach with dealing with issues or errors or potentially costly mistakes. And what we do is we have a really good foundational solution, right? Our inventory solution, ops execution, and CrunchTime kitchens are foundationally amazing solutions. And what we do is we layer in really good pieces of AI to help elevate the platform. And in our next kind of 12 months product roadmap, you will see different forms of AI being released across our suite that really help move the needle and almost change the game for our operators.
On one of them, I think I was reading before, you've got Copilot. Is that something that the manager can use day to day? That when they're on the product, is it kind of one of those they can query what's going on within their data?
Yeah, so AI analyst and AI insights. Where you can simply ask questions and it will definitely give you the answers of what you need, right?
I wish I was a manager now. It's very different.
I know. I mean, I wish I was a manager now to a certain extent. I mean, I used to have my own restaurant and we never had anything like that, right? And you know this as well as I do. Everything was manual.
Yeah.
But if we can help to automate processes for operators, but layering really, really good pieces of AI, like I said, that actually have some return on investment on them. And I think that's the other thing, right? At the moment, everyone's saying, oh, AI is great,
but
I can't see the return on investment.
That was exactly the comment that was around that was like you were there. That was exactly the comment that was around the table last night. Everyone was very excited by it, but as CEOs and MDs who were in the room, the risk was, how do I tell my boss or my investors what we're getting from it?
Yeah. At the moment, it's really difficult to put a business case around investing in AI and solutions like that. But actually, we make things easier to build a business case around using CrunchTime in its foundation.
Yeah.
And then we start to layer in AI on top of that, and it really elevates what operators can do.
And it was fascinating. I'm going to refer back to our rooftop again, since it was a lovely morning. And I think the sun was out for half an hour. That was about it. But we were talking. You guys released an AI buyer's guide, was it?
Yeah.
From our event, and really it was about cutting through a lot of the jargon, a lot of the noise that's around AI. And it's weird because the public were kind of using AI before commerce was. So it's it's kind of a weird look at it. And I think you were really focusing on where to invest, and you mentioned a little bit then, but and we had a customer on the panel. We had Cafe Nero with us, and they're not a small business, right? No. And I've known Andy Maynard, who works there for a long time, but Tim Cross was with us on the panel, and there is true movement, isn't it? And I know you don't. I don't want to go into too much detail about what Cafe Nero do, but they are showing you where to invest, right? And they are giving an example. I know we talk about not being able to see real return, but with this particular, the way they're using you guys, they are seeing some real results, aren't they?
100%. I mean, Cafe Nero is probably one of our oldest clients here in the UK. Been working with us for about 9, 10, almost coming up to 10 years.
Which in itself, right, 10 years with a SaaS provider that isn't your POS is quite.
But they put their trust in us, and we've helped them scale up. And they're digitizing their tech stack, and they rely on us heavily to make sure that they're making the right decisions. They're a great partner and a great brand, right? They're a really good high street brand. And you know what you're going to get when you walk through a Nero, right?
Sometimes it's back to that consistency we talked about, right?
Exactly. So, I think Nero is a great example, and there are other examples of great clients that we also work with. That
and they've gone totally digital. Is that what you're saying? So they've literally digitized inventory, and then because I think people were like, "Oh, of course they have," but like they're huge. Mm-hmm. It's not like an overnight fix, right? That's a big thing to unpick.
Yeah. And we and as a business, we're ready to support businesses of that size, but also, we're also ready to support businesses that are, they're at that kind of 10 sites. And typically in this country, 10 sites is
on their way to being big.
Exactly. So they're getting their investment rounds in, and they're looking to scale from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40. We've seen it with so many brands.
Yeah.
So we help those businesses scale up, and we help big businesses stay consistent as well.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And on that, we have to look down our future tunnel, which is what we do at the end of every podcast.
Okay.
So the next 3 to 5 years, we've got the relationship with technology. Is it improving? Oh God, I don't even know how to summarize that. But I think it's definitely interesting. It's changing. How do you see it? I suppose the relationship between you guys and the industry, not just you guys, as a whole. And you've been in various different SaaS companies over your career, so you've seen it from different angles, and you've been in the actual hospitality side as well. So you've got that unique view of everything. Mm-hmm. How do you see it kind of shifting? 3 to 5 years is a long time, actually. I mean, 3 to 6 months might be massive at the moment, but we'll see. Yeah. What do you see shifting or changing?
If you put all of the external factors aside, right, I think we have a lot of external influences from government, and we're trying to reduce VAT and all these things at the moment that keep getting thrown our way. I just think we need to stay resilient as an industry. We need to stay working together, right? And we do. We're a very good community industry.
Again, one of the conversations on the table last night was the fact there was a lady from Marks and Spencer's there, and she said, I can't believe how social and how supportive you are of your competitors. Yeah. It's almost weird.
Yeah, because hospitality industry affects so many people, right? Yeah. We go out to eat. It affects every single member of the public that likes to go out and eat and who doesn't, right? Whether it's fast food or fine dining, casual, doesn't matter. Or you even order in a delivery, right? It still impacts everyday life. And then our workforce, it makes up such a huge portion. The hospitality industry employs so many people across the UK. It impacts them. And I think if we look at, let's say, the next 3 to 6 months, it's, let's get through the next 3 to 6 months, and then we can look at 3 to 5 years, right? But if you can see into the future, and this is a really hard thing to understand or swallow.
Come on, you need your crystal ball.
Right. Well, then, if you want our crystal ball, then we deliver that as a solution and as a tech supplier, right? We give you the visibility into the future. Not many businesses have that at the moment.
Yeah, agreed.
And if you can see the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you can then be more consistent in your operations. You can provide the best customer service that you can, and you'll have repeat business off the back of it. That is how you scale your business. I mean, I think people complicate things too much. Let's just keep it simple. Great food, great service, plant pot here and there, right? Good environment, right?
Bit of green lighting.
Yeah, a bit of green lighting, right? And those are the three key things that a customer wants to see when they walk through the door.
100%. Right? And the customer doesn't care what tech you're on, right? That's the thing. And I always get, because we get wrapped up in it, right? Because it's what we do. And I think a lot of the time you have to peel it all back, thinking the best tech is the quiet tech, the one that sits in the background, does all the legwork for you, so you can go and do your bit, as you've pointed out. And I'm going to out-pun you here as we reach crunch time in the World Cup. I suppose, what's your overarching piece of advice for operators who are going into it, apart from let's hope we go really deep so everyone makes more money? What's your piece of advice for all these guys listening in?
Try and cut the noise out, right? And when I mean noise, it's all of the other external factors. If you have, and I'm going to boil this down to tech because we're a tech business. If you have the right tech in place, you'll be able to cut that noise out. But you'll be able to surface the right data at the right time with actionable insights to help you make better, smarter decisions and ride this really good wave out. Because if you can ride this wave out, every other major sporting event becomes a breeze. Because those peaks and troughs that you can't predict, you can now predict them.
Yeah.
Right? And
it's
then
in the bank. Yeah.
It's in the bank. Exactly. And the thing is, happy staff, right, means happy customers. Which means happy investors, right?
You're very good. Yes. I think it's a happy wife, happy life, which is not true if you've met mine. But anyway, look, I think it's fascinating. I think particularly in these large scale events when we see them in the UK, which are, I remember the year of the London Olympics, which I can't remember what it was. I want to say was it 2012? God, yeah, it probably was. Yeah, and I think around that time, I remember the businesses, there was hit after hit in a positive way, and there was lots of other events that came off the back of the Olympics, and I think Wimbledon all of a sudden started becoming more of an effort for people to do. So I think people listening to this should definitely have a look at what they're doing at their underlying infrastructure. If you've got a car, look at the engine, look at the tires, check everything's working properly. And I think it's the same for you guys, right? Have a look at CrunchTime. I think it's great because you guys are coming in from the States and they've already been here. So you've already been here a while, right? And I mean, you've already got an 8-year-old customer in the UK.
We've been really active internationally over the last 8 years. Not just in the UK, but within the Middle East and APAC as well. But we're now starting to see that people are looking for something that just simplifies their life. Yeah. And I think that we have a solution that helps simplify operators' lives. So yes, we have been around and working with Nero for 9-10 years. But now we're really intentional in our conversations with our customers and operators. And I think they're starting to see that CrunchTime is a really viable solution for them. I mean, if you can bring in and intertwine a fully integrated back office system that manages your inventory, your ops execution, and your kitchens. So with kitchen display systems, you have a unified.
Yeah, it's rare, isn't it? To have that unified, to have that in one product is quite rare.
It's super rare. So.
Well, and also I'm not going to let you get away with that one final prediction because you politically managed your 3 to 5 years very well. However, who's going to be in the final of the World Cup?
Well, I have to say England.
You don't have to, but you can.
I mean, I have to because I want to.
Okay.
And I think
we're getting some heckles from the audience.
I know, right? Yeah, some boos. But no, look, I think we can do really well. I think we've got a great team. We've got a good manager. Let's see if the other usual suspects might be there. Maybe France.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it might be France in the final. Then we'll see.
But how can you predict when Spain?
I don't know. Maybe if they had crunch time, they could work out what was going to happen.
There you go. Yeah. We help your inventory, but we also help you win games. Yeah.
Perfect. Look, if people have listened to this and are still tuned in, listening to our one-liners, where do they find you? Obviously they can check you out on LinkedIn. I presume you're active. You're open to conversations on there if people hunt you out.
I'm very much open to conversations. But look, we have a wealth of information about what we do on CrunchTime.com. Our webinars are all posted on there. Blog posts, the AI webinar, the AI buyer's guide is on there, and anything you need feel free to reach out to me. I'm all ears and willing to help wherever I can, right? I was born and raised in the hospitality industry, so I have a real big love and passion for it.
Love that.
And I just want to help operators really succeed and run really streamlined, happy operations.
And this will all go even better if we actually win the World Cup, because this will sound really like we actually know what we're talking about. Thanks for joining in, everyone. That was Shamik. Thank you, my friend, for joining us. And anything else planned for the day, or are you off back into the London sun?
I'm actually going to see a client.
Oh, really? Yeah. Very relevant. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, we shall see you all soon. Say goodbye.
Thank you very much. I've been Shamik. You've been Chris.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And check out crunchtime.com. You can also find them on our marketplace. Thank you.